Hey everyone, welcome to Blueprint's Infosession. To introduce myself, my name is Rai, my pronouns are he, him, and I'm the current president of Blueprint. I'm also a previous project lead for our nonprofit partner, Farm to People, and I'm super excited for you all to be here so we can share as execs and project leads with you all why we're so passionate about Blueprint and a potential future for you as either a developer, a designer, or a project lead. So let's just get started. So firstly, to introduce ourselves, we are LA Blueprint, and we are an organization here at UCLA that's dedicated to partnering with local nonprofits to make technology more accessible to historically underserved communities. We operate under the premise that mobile and web applications should be available to organizations that combat continuously unaddressed social disparities. And we do this by designing and building technology that alongside these nonprofits, our nonprofit partners from the ground up. And in the past, we've collaborated with local 501c3 nonprofits like Farm to People, Harmony Project, and Program for Torture Victims to create applications that transform the way these organizations facilitate social change to their tens of thousands of end users. Here at Blueprint, we put our people and community in the center of everything. And so these are some of the beautiful faces you'll see if you join Blueprint. We can be primarily split infrastructurally into three primary buckets, and those buckets being our exec team, our PL team, and our developers and designers. So our exec team of me, Cody, Ray, Karen, and Vivian are dedicated to essentially building and facilitating the infrastructure of your experience, socials, learning and growth, and outreach. Our project leads are in charge of being the technical mentors, the nonprofit liaisons, and developers and designers' biggest advocates as they navigate learning and navigate growing in our organization technically. And our developers and designers are the individuals who are working to build our applications from the ground up. Awesome. And at this point, I'm going to pass the torch along to our IVP, Cody.
Hey, y'all. So a little bit about where we come from as a whole. We're actually the third chapter to open our doors. Our org was originally founded at UCB right there, followed by the University of Waterloo, and then finally us. In terms of like age, our chapter is still like relatively new since we seeded in 2019, I believe. But despite our young age, we've like since grown dramatically, as you can kind of see on the slideshow right there, as like an org. And even with us at UCLA, we have definitely increased our impact on the community. So that's super awesome.
Before we get started, just to get a better understanding of what we stand for, we're going to go through some of the previous projects that we have done before, so you guys can get to know like what we actually do. So first I'll introduce our first project, which is with Program for Torture Victim. So basically PDV is in the greater Los Angeles area that aims to rebuild the lives of survivors of torture and prosecution over 70 countries. And this is done through connecting survivors to resources and rehabilitation. So basically over the year, we have two project leads that leads through the whole project. And we assemble a team of 2 designers and also 10 developers to build a mobile application for PDV that caters toward refugees and also Elysium seekers, and like ultimately assist them to integrate to our society. Yeah. And now I'll pass back to Rai to talk about From the People.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ray. I'm really excited to share with you our next project that I was actually the project lead for previously, and that project was Farm to People. And so what Farm to People is it's a 501c3 nonprofit that bridges the connect between food providers facing food wastage and community members facing food insecurity by supporting local farmers in selling their crops to businesses like restaurants, healthcare groups, schools, and other organizations. And they specifically elevate the farms managed by marginalized communities like those that are first generation, LGBTQI+, Black, Latina, and women-owned. And they have distributed nearly 2 million servings of nutritious produce to underserved communities across all of Los Angeles. Our team of 7 developers and 3 designers created a web application for Farm to People that served as a centralized marketplace for farmers to add listings and distribute their goods to buyers and food relief agencies. And so in doing so, we were able to migrate Farm to People's entire end-to-end distribution process from manual processes of things like phone calls, emails and Airtable forms to a user-friendly and accessible web platform that facilitates all types of processes that farm to people did manually, from selling processes, buying processes, and distribution logistics.
And our third nonprofit that we've helped in the past is Harmony Project. So Harmony Project is an organization that provides high quality musical education to children at no cost. They have a vision that all students, regardless of their background, socioeconomic status, or the like, have equal access to opportunities for musical and collegiate success. They have a very strong focus on children from underserved communities and emphasize a culture of diversity and inclusion. Thus far, they have partnered with well over 56 schools and community organizations, provide over 280 classes per week, and have well over 3,000 active participants. So our team consisted of 3 designers and 6 developers. We developed an application that bridged the gap between Harmony Project instructors and their students. Our application allowed profiles for individual students and staff, the creation and submission of to-dos and tasks, and an organized bulletin that allowed for quick at-a-glance information. A web client was also developed for easier creation and management of logistical information. Our backend in particular utilized Google Firestore, and our front end was developed using React. So after multiple iterations and incorporating feedback from like UI, UX interviews, we ended up with an application that will help Harmony Project with their mission to provide high quality instruction back to the community. Next slide, please. So this recruitment cycle, we're looking for project leads, developers, and designers, as y'all can see right here. As you may already know, developers work on coding the project, actually like building the foundational core principles of this and making sure that the application works in the end. Designers handle the UI UX aspect of the application and allow for like a smooth user experience when using the application and making sure that it's as intuitive as possible. Because oftentimes as developers, we might get like sucked down a hole and like we know what's going on, but regular people, not so much, right? Project leads take on more of like a managerial role. They'll definitely still be working on like coding and designing. That's not a question, but they'll kind of be more of a point person between the project team and a nonprofit that y'all will be working with potentially in the future. Next slide, please. Sweet. And now without further ado, we'll be moving on to the 3 nonprofits that we'll be working with for this upcoming year.
All right, what's up? I'm Michael, and I'm going to be the developer project lead for Shoes That Fit. And Vivian is going to be the design project lead for Shoes That Fit, but she couldn't make it here today. Next slide. And a little bit about the nonprofit. So Shoes That Fit tackles one of the most visible signs of poverty in America by giving children in need new shoes to attend school with dignity and joy, prepared to learn, play, and thrive. And the reason this is a big problem is because within schools, children who tend to be in poverty are often get bullied and often just have a much worse experience overall. Next slide. And so the problem is that 1 in 5 American children is in poverty and in need of shoes, like I mentioned before. And what Shoes That Fit does is that it provides children in need with brand new shoes measured exactly for their feet, giving them a new chance at life and a new beginning. And however, one problem that Shoes That Fit has is that their current process of placing shoe orders and managing this inventory is like it's done manually and it's done via a person like an office administrator, and which makes it super prone to human error and extremely time intensive. The solution that we're tasked with is building a web application that allows schools to place orders easily and more efficiently with a nice interface, and also provides an inventory management that automatically and accurately tracks and updates their inventory for them, so we can make this a much less time-intensive task for Shoes That Fit. On the tech side of things, since we'll be creating a web app, we'll be using React for the front end, and then the back end will involve likely some kind of large database like Airtable or AWS. And a bit of a stretch goal that we might have is that we might be integrating with Salesforce CRM, which is something that they've been trying to use on their end. In terms of design, you'll learn a lot of things with regards to UI and UX design as you design it from scratch, and you'll be prototyping using Figma, which you can use for everything from graphic design to wireframes and prototypes for a full-fledged app. You'll also be conducting user research through usability testing, and you'll get interviews with users from the nonprofit who will actually be using the app. And you also get to learn how design and tech are interconnected by interacting with the developers and designing the app to work well with a user-facing environment. And overall, what your impact will be is that you'll be helping Shoes That Fit, which provides thousands of kids in need with new shoes, giving them a new lease on life and childhood, and easing the negative treatment they may receive due to the inability to buy new shoes and due to their poverty. And Shoes That Fit overall has an impact of over 100,000 children. So we're super excited to be able to work with them and work on an app that helps them with their mission. So if you are someone who loves shoes and is a big sneakerhead, wants to impact the lives of thousands of children in need, and wants to learn and apply the things that you know and the things that you'll learn in the tech setting towards a cool and impactful project, and want to join a tight-knit family that will bond over broken code, multiple iterations of designs, and banger socials, join us at Shoes That Fit.
Sorry, I was muted. Hi, my name is Dia. My pronouns are she, her. And this year I'm the developer team lead for the Conscious Kid. Unfortunately, our design lead couldn't make it, but her name's Chantal and her pronouns are also she, her. So the Conscious Kid is a nonprofit that's dedicated to promoting equity and anti-racism, specifically with youth. They do this by starting and promoting a whole host of initiatives, such as rent relief during the pandemic and anti-racist toolkits for people to begin learning. But one of their primary initiatives, and the one that we're going to be helping with, is their work to promote and distribute children's books with POC representation. So in our project, the primary problem that we're trying to address is how difficult it is for people of color to find media, especially for children, reflecting their experiences. The Conscious Kid currently curates book lists and toolkits, but they can be much more accessible to help expand their reach and to help people find these resources much easier. So our solution is a web app that allows educators and parents to find resources and recommendations with better formatting and navigation, searching, filtering, as well as an admin interface for the Conscious Kid to easily publish their new work, as they have less technical experience, and making that interaction for them as easy as possible will help them continue to use this tool in the future. So on the dev side, that will involve a React front end and an Airtable backend. Sorry, can you go back a slide? Which means it's a good opportunity to learn about web development. And for designers, that will involve Figma prototyping, design, and user research. Okay. So this project will help tons of people, from offering kids of color representation and supporting authors whose work bring their realities to print. If you're interested in advocating for anti-racism and promoting racial education, then this is the place to be. And because this is an application primarily for parents and younger kids, we really want to put usability at the forefront, and that'll offer a lot of interesting challenges on the design and dev side. So please join us. Chantal and I are so excited to work with you guys. I know personally, I came into Blueprint not knowing anything and grew a lot through the support of my project leads. And we really hope to bring that environment for you guys. So if you can look at this beautiful collection of memes, these will be your emotions if you join our project.
Hi, so this is the last or our third nonprofit that we'll be working with, Asian Pacific Islander Forward Movement, but we don't have project leads for it yet, which is why if you're interested in being a project lead, this is the nonprofit that you'll be working with. Yeah, so Asian Pacific Islander Forward Movement wants a world where Asian and Pacific Islander communities and all communities of color in general have full power to access good health and a healthy environment, which includes like having like access to groceries and produce.
Yeah, so something that API FM has noticed is there's a lack of access to affordable and global and cultural produce for API communities. And in addition to that, local API farmers don't have a lot of support in getting their products out into the market as well. Oops. So the support that is provided to the API community and the API farmers is done completely manually through emails, spreadsheets. You can imagine just how complicated that can be and how many things fall through the cracks. And so the solution that we're collaborating with them to address these issues is a mobile application that displays all of the fresh produce available from local farmers to the API community, also to restaurants, corner stores, anyone who really wants to gain access to this type of produce. Not only does it ease the workload on API FM, it also gives the API community a really easy way to make and place orders. All you need is like a phone. And it also allows the API FM staff to easily fulfill those orders, just managing the inventory in the background, and the mobile app will collect all of the data that they need from there. So if you join Blueprint and if you choose to be part of API FM, you're going to make food more accessible to tens and thousands of people. Like I mentioned before, restaurants, small corner stores, nonprofits, people living in food deserts, all of these people will be impacted by the mobile app that you will work to design, create, or lead. And then in addition to the community, moreover, you're giving small farmers more selling power, getting their name out there, giving them access to, connecting them to the people who need them in their products.
Awesome. So you've just heard about the 3 great nonprofits that we'll be working with for this upcoming year, but some of y'all might still be a little hesitant. I see you through your screens. So you might be wondering, why should I join Blueprint, right? Well, aside from the obvious fact that you're helping other people, you'd also be helping yourself. The community that we have here is extremely supportive. I myself have found myself ranting so much to these poor people. They probably get sick of me, but I feel comfortable enough and supported by them to open up and be a little bit more vulnerable than I would with most people. I really feel that the work that we do here is super important, but at the end of the day too, we have to recognize that we are students, and we also have to understand that our mental state is just as important as well. And the team here understands that, which is great. But if that emotional spiel didn't convince you, we also have some slides that dive a little bit into more of the technical aspects. So next slide. Sweet. So for developers, the projects that we handle have an incredible impact on the community. It's my personal opinion that oftentimes the work that's kind of done in academia, the projects that we have are kind of short-lived. You build it, it works maybe, you feel great, but only for a couple days, right? That's because outside of yourself and maybe the immediate people around you, the influence dies off pretty fast. But here in Blueprint, all the projects that you work on live far longer. They have a wide-ranging reach. Ultimately, we help a lot of people. We use the tools of our trade, our knowledge, and our abilities, and we put that to good use to help the community and give back. But diving more into the technical aspect, if that's not really your case, I guess, as a developer, you'll learn the ins and outs of modern technology. JavaScript and React, the React framework, are heavily utilized in industry. And the fact that you'll learn how to use this and properly integrate it with a backend, that's amazing. It's also pretty important to develop soft skills as well, since you'll rarely ever be only working with yourself. Active communication with other developers to make sure you don't recreate the same function. And the design team as well to make sure that the product actually looks good. It takes more practice than you would expect. And so you would definitely get some hands-on experience in that regard. Don't take it from us though, take it from all of the alum that went to these beautiful companies using the skills, values, and ethics that they nurtured through Blueprint.
Yeah, so Cody covered the development side of things, so I will talk about the design side. So through Blueprint, even if you don't have like experience in UI UX yet, you will learn how to conduct user research, testing, and interviews through like live interaction with like people who will potentially use your product. You'll also learn how to create wireframes, mockups, and prototypes following the design thinking process using the application Figma, probably because Figma is like our favorite app. And you also get to have your designs seen and used by real users, and especially users who need them the most. And you also get to work closely with developers to make sure that your visions for the app come alive. So you can create designs and then they become real, which is really fun to see.
Awesome. And on the project leads side of things, as Karen and Viv previously alluded to, this year we are recruiting 2 project leads, a developer project lead and a design project lead, to essentially spearhead our nonprofit partnership with API FM. And so as a previous project lead for Farm to People, I can confidently say that this experience has been the most enriching in defining technical experience in my time here at UCLA. And I can also confidently say that I would not be the software engineer, I wouldn't be the leader I am today without my experience as a project lead. And as a project lead, some really cool things that you'll be able to have is that you'll be able to have the creative agency to ideate a project and see your vision come to life. That's such a profound and fulfilling thing. It sounds scary and daunting on paper, but you have so much support from other individuals who have previously done this. You have a whole developer and design team, and you really get to be in the forefront of making these really pivotal decision-making processes, design-wise and development-wise, to see your project come into fruition, which I think is such a cool thing. Another thing that you get to do is you get the ownership of a project that will literally change the way thousands of people engage with social good. How many opportunities do we get, like as students or as like everyday individuals, to create technical products, to create design products, and have the platform opportunity to implement these products in the way these nonprofits facilitate their social good initiatives. It's a really rare opportunity, and it's something that our exec team have been working tirelessly over this entire summer to facilitate for you all. The next thing is growth. The unprecedented opportunity to communicate with nonprofit industry CEOs and stakeholders on a regular basis, essentially engaging with these individuals, understanding the intricacies of their company, of the work that they do, and of a lot of the technical challenges that come with a nonprofit space. And lastly, unconditional support from your fellow project leads, from exec, to really stretch yourself and to grow as a leader, as a visionary, and as a developer and designer. And so to close things off, I want to kind of summarize and communicate to you what you'll get the opportunity to gain if you join Blueprint. So if you want a family to create wholesome memories with through socials, parties, celebration demo days, nights hunched over the laptop trying to figure out some type of bug, or figure out how you want to perfect a design for accessibility reasons. If you want to build socially impactful products that impact 10,000s to even 100 plus thousands of end users, this year, through our nonprofit recruitment, we were able to pick, we had our most competitive nonprofit pool of applicants, and we were able to pick nonprofits that have such well-varied spaces of social good, from food deserts to providing shoes to kids, to teaching race consciousness. And the fact that we have the opportunity to create applications for like Shoes That Fit, that's literally distributed 100,000 shoes over the time that they've been alive. Our other organizations, like the Conscious Kid, that basically has distributed so many books to hundreds of thousands of individuals and have facilitated so much impact. That's a really unprecedented opportunity, and it's something I'm so excited, and our exec team is so excited to share with you. And lastly, if you want a space where you can be both an architect and a change maker, I really encourage you to apply to Blueprint and see what you can do as an individual here in our organization. Yeah, and with that, I'm going to be going over like essentially a consolidated FAQ section of questions that we typically get from individuals who are prospective Blueprint members. So the first question, the number one question we get is, do I need experience to join Blueprint? And I say this with a resounding no. You don't need any development or design experience in like the mobile web application space. We specifically recruit for passion and a demonstrated commitment to grow. And we go through an extensive onboarding process that our VP of Design and VP of Tech, Vivian and Karen respectively, have been ideating and creating this entire summer to teach you all you need to know about the development and design process. I want to inject my personal testimony. I came into Blueprint without any mobile and web application experience. I was able to grow through the mentorship and support here to eventually become a project lead and to eventually become the president. So on that end, we just really want to emphasize how much we want our members to grow and how passion for social good takes precedence over everything. The next question that we often get is, what's the time commitment of Blueprint? We expect about 10 to 12 hours from each of our members per week. And this is split between work sessions, team bonding, and individual time spent on projects. What is the interview process like? To flesh it all out, after a short written application that's due this Friday, October 8th, selected applicants will be invited to a virtual interview. And that virtual interview will be focused on two primary things: getting to understand your background and getting to understand your passions and motivations. And then from there, selected interviewees will be invited to chat with our team in person so we can get to know them as a teammate and as a person. And our next question that we often get is, what's the timeline of projects? We follow the cadence of the school year. So you can expect to start when we form our project teams, which is in October, sometimes early November, and then project delivery is expected by June. How do I get to choose the team that I'm on? When you join Blueprint, essentially there's an internal meeting where all of our PLs will pitch their projects to you. And then from there, you as developers and designers, if you choose to join as a developer or designer, will fill out some type of interest form to gauge why you want to join that team, and then we'll pair you with the team of your choice. And then how many people are we looking to recruit? In terms of the breakdown for designers, developers, and PLs, we're looking to recruit 6 to 9 designers, 12 to 15 developers, and 2 project leads. Team sizes are flexible though, based on how many people we view as a good fit. Awesome. And so to close off this presentation, I want to share with you why I joined Blueprint really quickly. So I came into UCLA very disillusioned because I'm an individual who's super passionate about the creative side of tech, the ability to literally build something out of nothing, and to really allow individuals to interact with things and people in a whole different way. But at the same time, I was super passionate about social advocacy, addressing continually unaddressed social groups, communities, and social justice issues. And I was really disillusioned by the fact that there didn't exist a space for me to come here and to pursue both of those things. But at Blueprint, I was able to find the intersection of those two main things that really motivate me and really impassion me. And so on that end, if that's something that you're interested in, I invite you to apply to our organization and see what you can do as an individual who builds tech for social good. So on that end, if you are interested, I invite you to scan our QR code and check out our socials and apply today. Our applications close on Friday, October 8th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And for your reference, these slides will be going out to all the individuals who signed up for our interest form. So if you haven't signed up for our interest form yet, please do that. And we will get you all this information, this entire slide deck. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. At this point, we're going to be moving on to a big group Q&A section. So if you have any questions that you'd want to ask right now, feel free to ask it. Afterwards, we're going to have breakout rooms, so that way you can talk to us exec and PLs on a more intimate level. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute themselves and take a crack at it. Yeah, and you can also drop your questions in the chat as well.
All right, so I have a question.